Hey everybody, welcome to another Soracom live Hackstorm. My name is Mohib Zara. I'm a Soracom developer evangelist. So I get to make awesome projects and interact with an awesome community like you. So today our format's going to be a little bit different. We're just going to bring on a couple of our friends, some makers, some people in the AR, VR, and XR space, and just kind of chat about what they've been working on and find out if anybody's done anything with the Soracom starter kit that we sent out, and just chat about all things hardware, IoT, and hacking. So it's a brainstorm involving hacking. So it's a hack storm, pretty basic. So let's bring on our guests. We've got Alvaro, David, Nima, and Elijah, who is also hey, awesome hat. That's awesome.
Thanks.
So yeah, let's just go ahead and go around and introduce everybody. Alvaro, would you like to tell us about yourself?
Hey, I'm Alvaro. I'm a kind of hardware, software, firmware engineer, and I love making stuff. Yeah, we can get into projects and stuff later.
All right, awesome. And David.
I'm David, commonly known as iShotJR online. My background is in software, but I'm a hardware hacker these days, and I just have a billion projects which we can get into soon.
Awesome. And Nima.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. My name is Nima, and I am the Assistant Director for Outreach at XRSI. So we're a XR safety initiative. I'm specifically focusing on children's safety. I'm also an AR consultant by trade.
Awesome. Thanks, Nima. And we got Elijah, who is
Hi,
colorful.
I'm Elijah. I was on the show Mythbusters Jr., and I just like tinkering around with small computers like Raspberry Pis, and I'm starting to get more into Arduinos.
Awesome. Yeah, we're glad to have everybody. So I thought we could all go around, kind of show and tell, show our projects, what's been interesting to each other, and then go into kind of a little brainstorm about what, like, the best way to brainstorm, right, is to know what everybody else has done, what kind of cool projects they've made, and then kind of see where our brains all align and just see what ideas we can spark out there. So Alvaro, why don't you tell us about what you've been working on?
Oh, I didn't prepare. No. So most recently, I've been working on weather stations and cheese monitoring equipment. So I'm going to start with the weather station right now. And this was mostly an idea. This was a gift from my dad because he liked measuring stuff. So I started kind of making my own little weather stations and ended up kind of using Zigbee, Bluetooth, and now LoRa. And I've been just kind of playing with radios, kind of learning about different technologies, and playing with sensors. You can actually see over there, I have a little kind of anemometer. I don't have a window I can put stuff out of. But more recently, I got a hold of this guy, which is legitimately like a professional weather station, which has no moving parts, like solid state wind measurement, rain, wind speed direction, and there's got barometric pressure, temperature, humidity, all that stuff. And I thought that was a really neat way to deploy kind of a all-in-one weather station somewhere. So when I heard about the cellular thing, I was like, oh, would actually be neat because I could just drop this anywhere and I mean, with their cell service, and start kind of playing with that. Because everything else I connect to, like this radio will talk to a radio that's connected to Raspberry Pi, and then that talks to my little cloud and whatnot. But that's kind of what I've been working on with regards to weather stations. And then for cheese, I've been working on my cheese-shaped circuit boards that are monitoring, well, it's not going to focus. But anyway, this is a temperature humidity sensor with Bluetooth, and this is actually used for monitoring my brie making equipment.
A brie CP. That's awesome. Thanks, Alvaro. And David, I just saw you got your board connected.
Thanks for noticing. I was having some trouble earlier, and apparently it was just waiting for the stream. It didn't want to. It wanted to make me wait until the last second. So yeah, I've been playing with my Soracom board. One of the cool things about it is that it has the Grove connectors, and I have so many Grove connectors that it makes it really easy to do all kinds of connect all kinds of things. I don't even know how many Grove connectors, but I've been playing with that and just connecting everything really quickly without having to solder. So that's been fun. Another thing I've been playing with lately is this little tiny. This is called the Pocket Screen, and it's a little Arduino compatible. I think it's a SAM2151, one or the other. Just a tiny little postage stamp board, and the screen can fold back so it becomes half the size. It's got a micro SD on it. It's got an ESP built in, so it has Wi-Fi and a couple buttons. And my favorite thing are things that are ridiculously tiny or things that are ridiculously huge. Things that are like normal size I'm not interested in, but anything that's really little or really big I love. So I've been playing with this. I've also been doing a bunch of retro stuff, playing with these old DOS Palm Tops from the 90s, trying to write some apps for them in C, and also, I mean, my goal is I want to get these online eventually. What else? Yeah, I think that's a good place to start.
So tell me about you've been doing a lot of live streaming with like ARM, and I got a chance to sit on the All Hands Active meetup with you.
Yeah.
So how's that been going? Well, what have you
The
been
All
seeing
Hands
really
Active meetup is the monthly meetup. It's the last Thursday of every month. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern. So the hope is that Pacific people can get on there too. It's not super convenient for people in Europe and other time zones, so we're probably going to do like an earlier Saturday one sometime soon to accommodate those folks. But yeah, it's on Zoom. It's not a stream like this where it's public and anyone can jump in. You have to sign in. You have to sign up through the meetup, and then it's just us in the Zoom meeting, participating together. And we had about 30 something people show up last time, which was amazing. And just sharing their projects, kind of like this. And then the first hour was kind of getting to know each other and just sharing little updates, kind of like I just did, of like, here's what I'm working on, here's what I'm working on. And then the second hour is about 20-minute presentations, shorter if you have less, longer if you really have a lot, that people give, those are scheduled speakers. And so, last month we had, for example, you giving an awesome talk about Soracom. We also had David from Make Augusta, Cyber City Circuits, giving us a tour of his PCB assembly facilities. He built a PCB, reflowed it live. And we had Brian showing his hockey training system that he and his daughter made. And who else? Helen Lee came and showed off some of her projects. And yeah, it's a really awesome event. And follow me on Twitter, and I'll be tweeting all about it, because the next one is in less than a week's time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Just watching the PCB get made from the Cyber City Circuits. You could see in the chat, everybody was like, this is basically like watching a Food Channel show, but with because he had to go through like the reflow belt.
Yeah.
And so it was like a pizza. That was rad. Thanks, David. Why don't we go to Elijah? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I was just drinking water. I'm doing good. Stuff I've been working on recently has mainly been. Let me go grab it here. Okay, so do you know the Raspberry Pi 400?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's this keyboard. It's like a Raspberry. Oh, if I get in frame, it's like a Raspberry Pi. It has like all the stuff. It's a Raspberry Pi and a keyboard. But I had one main issue with it. It's meant for beginners, right? It's meant to introduce people into, make it really easy for people to get into, Raspbian and coding and basic wiring. Why is the GPIO on the back? GPIO on the back? Because you have to stop what you're doing, turn the entire keyboard around, and like plug things, and then plug things in, and things can be unplugged from like the God forbid, the Raspberry Pi power supply can be unplugged, the screen can be unplugged when you're doing that. A bunch of things can, the loose GPIO can, it interrupts workflow because you have to stop typing. In fact, that's the entire reason I have, let me turn my camera. That's the entire reason I have this chart over here crudely taped to my wall, specifically so all I have to do is just turn around and I see where all the GPIO stuff is. But, you know, I just fixed my main complaints by making this. I have the files on Thingiverse if you want to make it. This is what I call the Raspberry Pi 400. Get it? Because it's like it's a breadboard, and it's an addition to the Raspberry Pi. So basically what it is it clips onto the side of the keyboard. Hold on, okay. It clips onto the side of the keyboard, and it moves the GPIO to a breadboard, and it moves it to the side of the Pi. And it adds a legend. Let me see. Let me zoom. Yeah, okay. It adds like a legend to the thing. And I also, I saved a lot of space. Let me explain. You don't see the T connector because I've soldered it to, hold on, let me get it. It's on the bottom of the breadboard. Okay. I soldered it to the bottom of the breadboard to save space. Because usually normal T connectors will take like 1 to 3 pins from each side. And when you only have 5 pins on each side for like direct connections to the GPIO, that's a lot of pins to be used up. So it saves space on the breadboard. It moves the GPIO to a place where you can actually use it without causing like catastrophic failure. And it labels it to make it more beginner friendly. And I get that they put the GPIO pins on the front of the Pi for like a cleaner look, but I honestly think it would have been better like at the top or something.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, it's. I'm not saying the Raspberry Pi 400 is bad, right? I'm saying it takes it from being what I would consider the perfect beginner's Pi to being the best beginner's Pi, which is still a really good, like it's still a really good product. I wish I had this when I was starting. It also gets rid of like the intimidating look of a Raspberry. Like when people who aren't really accustomed to doing stuff like this, when they see this looks really complicated. Making it look like an everyday common keyboard would probably get a lot more kids interested in it. But that's what I've been working on recently.
I'm also hoping like stuff like that will encourage manufacturers like laptops to throw in like a GPIO header. So that was really what always bothered me, because it's like I know it's in there. Like I know the pins are in there. Give them to me.
Yeah.
I heard you were also working on this couple of...
I was just gonna say I love soldering the T on the back. I've never thought of that because I like the breakout, the Adafruit breakout, but it does take up a giant quantity. It just is huge on the breadboard, so that's brilliant.
One issue with this that I want to revise in the later version, I want to clip on using the I want to just plug in on the top, because currently to clip on it uses 2 vent holes. Oh, it's I accidentally chroma keyed that out when I chroma keyed out my Pikachu. It doesn't matter. It covers up 2 vent holes. Oh yeah, that's it's not like actually blinking. Obviously, I just chroma keyed it out.
Yeah, I was wondering that. I wasn't sure if you had hacked your hat.
No, unfortunately.
That's rad, man. So what else have you been working on? I know you've always got crazy projects going. I saw something about a cat.
Yes. Okay. So that's less of like that I was going to get into in a second, because I had an idea on how to use the Soracom for that. But recently, my dad has installed a cat fountain by my sink, right? By the kitchen sink, and the cat can activate it by swiping his paw past like a sensor, and it turns on the water, right, for him to drink or like bat at or play in or whatever. But in the installation, I guess something went wrong because one of the pipes exploded. Can I pull up the video of the broken pipe?
Yeah. If you want to share screen, I'll bring it up.
Yeah, I want to share my screen. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, it was leaking. The pipe had how do I share my screen?
There should be
I see share
right there. Yeah.
Oh, I can share a video file. That makes it way easier. I recently switched over
out of that feature.
Yeah, I recently switched over to Windows, so oh god. Oh no. I don't know which video file it is, and if I share the wrong one, it could be... I'm just going to share my screen. Just
hope it's not a bomb, right?
Yeah. Application window. Oh, perfect. Okay. So this
was a joke about dripping. Elijah's username.
Oh yeah, my username's yeah. Actually made
there it is.
Yeah.
There we
See,
go.
it's dripping from the pipe. And it like since we store things under the sink, it like flooded a bunch of stuff. Nothing got thrown out, at least I don't think so. But we had to move everything. It was a huge crisis, right? The pipe broke, but in the end, let me see. Let me stop sharing. How do I stop sharing? Oh, stop screen. It's right there. And I open up another file. This one. Okay. I just want to show you the cat playing in the fountain. Share screen. Share screen. Application window. This. See, he gets a nice little fountain to drink out of. He really likes playing in the sink. So hopefully this is a way to get him to stop licking the faucet, because that's a little bit annoying. When I still put it through a Brita filter, but it's a little bit annoying when you want to drink like water, but you like internally the cat has licked this faucet. It kind of trips me up. Anyways, what I was going to use the Soracom for on it, right? I was thinking maybe I could use a camera module or something, like connect. I have an Arduino camera thing, and have it when that detects a cat, tell the Soracom module to like maybe send me a message, like, oh, the cat's using the fountain. Maybe I could find a way to include the picture in it. I think it would be fun just because I want to know when he actually uses it. Because if he doesn't use it that often, there's got to be a way to like teach him how it works.
Oh yeah.
And also, I just
That's
think it's
cool.
fun because I like to incorporate my pets into my projects. My 2018 Hack Pumpkin Challenge project was a cat dog human detector, and it would turn on a cat toy whenever it saw a cat. So,
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, a robot that knows which pet it's playing with, because each pet has a different requirement, right?
yeah.
Thanks, Elijah. So Nima, if you're ready, if you wanted to introduce yourself a little bit more and what you've been working on or what you're interested in.
Yeah. So I'm on the emerging technical side. So I'm like teaching myself how to 3D print, teaching myself how these things work, and just recently entered back in school to just build foundational knowledge of like computer engineering. But I've always been really fascinated by AR headsets, or augmented reality headsets, mixed reality headsets, virtual reality. So I saw this really interesting project and I thought to myself, hey, how cool would it be someone that may not know a lot about this stuff teach himself how to build a variant of a project. So there's a project called Project North Star. That itself has a variant called the Triton project. I believe is run by a gentleman, Graham Atlee, I believe, and basically uses a AR reflector. I believe a NVIDIA Jetson, a LCD display, and basically you can have like a $300-400 AR headset. So I am currently ordering some of the parts now that I'm comfortable with 3D printing. So I have that kind of newbie 3D printer back there. Just basic shapes, scaling them. Everyone does like the calibration cube. I like cats, so I made calibration cats from Thingiverse. And kind of my goal is to, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to build something that you can go like this and pull up the time or the weather. And I'm not sure if you've seen those projects. I think you had mentioned Project North Star, the sort of open source AR headset. But those things are massive, so you can't actually take it into the real world. But where I'd want to go from there is to find ways to make it smaller, or to, yeah, pretty much make it smaller to maybe wear it out into the everyday world.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and you're doing all sorts of awesome stuff, trying to get like some changes out in like how people are looking at AR and XR in there. So you had like a nonprofit thing you were working on, correct?
Yeah, I currently work. I just started with XRSI. So they are basically crafting extended reality safety initiatives. So they recently presented a safety initiative framework to the Biden-Harris administration. We're working on a new framework. So it's all about child safety and really like standards to have a safe XR experience, because people are making all this cool tech, but safety is not exactly the priority. They don't think about like, how does this affect the human brain? I don't know. That's a valid question. Maybe we should figure that out before we damage people's brains. But we basically try to get companies on board to really protect the user. And we figure, hey, before things get out of control, Facebook, you can address it before it becomes a problem.
Absolutely, yeah, and the same goes with like any new technologies, right? I mean, like with an IoT space, like there's a certain point where home automation takes away from other things or affects how we depend on the things around us, right? They also open up various security holes into your home if you're not being responsible with your product before you put it out. So likewise with AR, XR, anything. So that's really awesome stuff you're doing.
Oh yeah. Privacy is a big concern. Is a massive concern that we're doing because the United States doesn't enjoy really any data protection, like say in Europe where they have GDPR. So that's another thing we're trying to address as well.
I'm just curious, what kind of display does the DIY AR system use? What do you need for that?
Oh yeah, I can pull it up here.
I think it is a 6-inch. Hang on, let me pull up the parts list. Let's see. So it's from AliExpress. It's so descriptive, right? 6-inch 2K LCD display. So it's like basically it'll shine down into the reflector, and that gets shot into your eyeballs.
Cool.
Yeah, here, I will share my screen. Yeah, this project's pretty awesome. If you guys remember Noah Zirkin from the Maker Faire days, he's out in Shenzhen. Last remember he was working on this project, like producing
That's
them.
awesome.
Yeah, so let's pull up a video actually.
They were selling kits for this, but oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about it is like how much the field of vision on this is what impresses me most. And it's just using 2 screens on like a mirror. And a leap motion, right? I think.
Yeah, it uses a leap motion controller, and I believe like the IR part. So it's a little more expensive than Triton Project, but they're both reflective displays versus say something like the Google Glass, which uses a wave-guided optics.
I was talking to someone the other day. I guess the Microsoft HoloLens you can get them on eBay for like $600 now. So a lot of people are picking up used ones and doing stuff with that.
eBay.
I've been watching myself.
Yeah, so this is the leap motion that they're using to control it. This, I was a huge fan of this. I ended up ordering 2 when they first came out. It's been incorporated to a lot projects. I'm surprised I don't see it more common, but
I feel like
they're thumb drive size thing.
Yeah, it was so hyped back when it came out, and then like I haven't heard anything about them for years.
For North Star, are they mounting it on the forehead or is it on the desktop? Oh, it is more okay.
It's on top, so it's basically fully enclosed.
Nice
system. Yeah, separate from any desktop. That's kind of like the holy grail of AR, MR devices. I think the biggest problem with any of these, including the Leap Motion, now Ultra Leap, is use case. I mean, they're cool pieces of tech, but AR, there hasn't been a killer use case yet outside of like enterprise. But even enterprise, like how many? What's easier, going like this or using your voice or doing this?
All the Microsoft examples seem to be like training people. Like, here's how you would do this thing, and here's what it looks like inside this virtual person's body as you learn to be a doctor and stuff like that. And which explains it has to be stuff like that because it's so expensive. It's like $3,500 or something. So that's the only people that can afford it.
Yeah, or fighter pilots, right? Like.
It's quite fascinating, really. I know Tesla's using it for training. I believe they're using HoloLens and they're using a few other things, but training, learning and development, as well as logistics are the big AR use cases. I mean, it's the way people interact with it. At one point, I was at a particular company doing inside sales, more consultative, really, and there are people who said, "Look, if you take away these AR glasses, I'm going to quit." And these are pickers at a warehouse because they would essentially turn 2 weeks of training time into like 2 days and have the same time of efficiency or more efficient time of proficiency.
Have you seen a lot of IoT being used with AR and XR, like mixed reality spaces or anything like that?
It's starting to be a thing. It's kind of like these were independent technologies. I know that there are a couple companies in this, actually a lot more companies in the space now implementing that. I know that TeamViewer has, because they acquired UBmax as well as Upskill, so two major players in the industrial AR space. And so they are essentially having like a fully integrated IoT and AR suite. And yeah, I mean, it's something that's being explored. I think the experience is being polished. And so people are kind of now just like figuring out like, oh, you can do this and this together. Because before they were kind of like their own separate things. And I'll tell you right now, though, a lot of people, especially like business people, when you speak to them, they're just like, what is this magic? And how do I put it on my face? Right? Like it's so new to them. They until they really like it's explained to them, they don't really process exactly what they can do with it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's IoT and augmented reality or mixed reality. That's going to be more of when you're trying to have objects that are in the real world provide information to your, display, right? Like if you're walking around and there's sensors or I mean, people love to use the advertisement, like, Minority Report, you're walking around and you're getting ads like projected at you, but that's like the dark side, if you will. But just when you interact with physical objects that also have augmented or virtual properties, if you will, that has to be connected, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking sci-fi and just like, I don't know about practical applications, but
I mean,
but
that's where it all gets inspired from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, actually, I was gonna, with the Raspberry Pi, I wanted to incorporate something AR, but I didn't have time for Pi Day. I originally wanted it, or not originally, but I wanted it to be, this would interrupt workflow, but I think it would be really cool. So I still want to add it to be where like I set up a thing, like maybe points, and then it sees where the board is, and then it puts up like the legend instead of you having to like write it down on a piece of tape. But your idea of like it being just like in your, that would actually really help workflow if it was just like, sorry, I'm having trouble wording things here, but you know what I mean. I've taken note on what you've said. I think it's really cool.
I mean, an app the other day that does that.
AR, right?
You can hold up to your Raspberry Pi and it'll show you the pins.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Inspect AR.
Share my screen. Yeah,
I think they got acquired.
Yeah, they are.
Great.
Yeah, they use. There's a number of things, like a lot of industrial companies now are like implementing like machine learning or cloud computing now into the AR platforms, because the hardware has finally caught up to the point where like you can actually interface with cloud efficiently.
That's so cool. It traces like the connections.
Yeah,
So
you can select your layer and everything.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. And then like if I accidentally like strip a pad or something, I can
You'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
it just takes
even
the board file and you take pictures of your boards and it creates a model.
You can do it live with the phone. I've seen the demo. It's pretty neat. I think for debugging, it's fantastic, or even for assembly. But I mean, Elijah, just for your use case, you could just have the pinout of the Raspberry Pi projected kind of on the surface next to the actual pins, and then you don't have to look up at your piece of paper.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a very simplistic.
The piece of paper serves a secondary. Can I show the piece of paper serves a secondary use? Secondary use case. I have a hole in my wall.
Busted.
Which project did that?
Actually, this one, I don't know. I think I was just frustrated, and I didn't know how fragile my walls were. The other one was from me staying up too fast. You can see this is right above my head, right?
Ooh.
My wall, yeah, I stood up way too fast, and I was like right here.
That hurts.
But those, I swear, there's one hole back there, but that's when I was swinging something around, and I didn't realize that. Listen, I'm
very soft walls.
Yeah,
you're like augmenting the walls with paper.
That's why you always wear the hats, is for protection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Also, the ears tell me when I'm getting too close to my walls, but it also doesn't really help when I'm trying. I have slanted walls, so when I'm trying to work behind my monitor and to
Boom.
like plug things in, it's a bit annoying.
that's funny. When I was in high school, our robotics team, we made an air cannon, and one of the other students on our team decided to wrap the drawer liner foam that we were firing. He wrapped a stock of aluminum, like round aluminum, with this foam, stuck it in there without telling me. So when I launched it inside, I was thinking I'm launching a soft thing, right? And it just makes a perfect hole in the cabinets in the school. So we panic and like we look at the teacher like, what do we do? This was like 10 years ago, so I don't care telling it. And we just like covered it up with a poster or something, and we're just like, we'll never speak of this, and that never happened. Except I just told everybody who's watching. So
Oh, this isn't going out live, is it?
that was fun.
School's gonna be like, look, we're coming for those damages right now. 10 years later.
We will sue you for everything you have.
That was parody. I don't know if that actually happened. I'm exaggerating.
Hypothetically, you always gotta be
Allegedly.
allegedly.
I like your background. I like how it's all rainbow and
Oh yeah, I've got
circulating.
the.
Hold on.
I don't know how well.
Oh,
I can
Rainbow!
show
I heard
it,
Rambo, and I was like, "There's a Rambo poster." I
No.
but
No.
I can't see it in the
It's a different
camera,
live
but
stream.
I've got LifeX tiles, so they're all adjustable.
In
LEDs.
fact, I think I want my foreground to be rainbow
Whoa.
instead of my background.
Wow.
Oh nice.
Oh, this is.
Now I'm jealous
this
of
is
your rainbow
post-
lights. That's rad.
I think my background's darker. I used to be able to highlight my whole face, but now it highlights my room too. Oh, okay. Well, that's
Is this just OBS or?
yeah. This is OBS Virtual Cam. I've been messing around with it more recently because now I have a desktop that can actually handle running OBS and a different application at the same time.
I was gonna say, yeah,
I
mine
haven't-
couldn't.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded a desktop in like 7 years. So.
That's cool.
Oh my
So-
god. Oh my god. Sorry. Wait. Go on.
Oh, no, go on.
Oh,
I'm excited.
When I upgraded, I'm more disgusted than excited because when I upgraded my desktop, I hadn't like checked the fans or anything. I hadn't like made sure they're still spinning. Okay, wait. You know how where's a fan I can pull up? Let me get a normal fan.
Oh, the bearings all gone.
Yeah. Okay. Then you already know, right? You know how a fan's supposed to act when you spin it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
They are so incredibly dusty.
Oh my god.
Oh, they're absolutely destroyed. They weren't even spinning. I had like one working fan, and it was an intake fan.
Oh damn. Well, so what I was thinking when you were showing how you're changing the chroma key on your face, one thing I've talked a lot with some of these guys, or with I know at least with Alvaro and Nima, is I love the idea of interacting with live streams and physical things. So like, there's things like Twitch Plays Pokemon, and
Oh,
Twitch has
yeah.
a pretty extensive API and widget. And so one of the things I've been wanting to do is allow people to control something within your space while you're live streaming. So that could be like programmatic thing, right? Where someone can like tip bits or whatever they call it in Twitch and control like the color palette that gets projected. Like I can be like, oh, I want rainbow mode Pikachu eyes, right? Or they could control, a dog feeder and feed treats to a dog, like all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm headed with like what I
What are
want to build.
What are those taser pads? I forgot what they're used to like contract muscles. I was thinking like a sub could
A TENS unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
I
are
have a
fun.
TENS unit. I could make that.
Yeah, I've done that for
That's
physical
something that-
therapy, and if you crank it up enough, you'll start moving.
When
Oh,
when
yeah.
someone subs to you, you hit the ground.
Or just have it on your hand, and if you're trying to use the keyboard, you'll start clicking things. Without
Yes, I want you to no
intending
longer
to.
be able to type.
Yeah.
Right.
Your hand seizes up.
Fun story with the TENS unit. I misused one, not in that way. Basically, I had a 2-day move. It'd be really intense, and I read somewhere that you could use a TENS unit to combat muscle fatigue, and I'm like, sure.
If used
Horrible
correctly.
idea. It was great. Yes, I used it correctly. Low. It actually worked really well. Legs, arms, quite amazing. What I didn't read, because I didn't read far enough, was that it can cause muscle bruising. So worked great. I mean, it was kind of like in those video games where someone's like, I'm going to turn on my augmentations. But in the video games, they have the stim that, heals you but you don't have that in real life. So I just kind of walked away, just wondering what I was doing with my life. But it worked great. 10 units.
So, yeah, they can be a lot of fun. A friend of mine did use mine to see if he could put it on, like, there's specific muscle areas you're supposed to use and run it across. But he decided to put it, I forgot where it was like a weird part of his wrist. And so his whole arm like would just twist uncontrollably. And and you should never try this at home. This is probably not safe. This is not good medical advice for anyone watching.
Disclaimer.
You could use a series of TENS units or muscle stimulation to control a person like really poorly.
Puppet.
It'd be like a really crappy marionette. But that could be fun. Yeah, Twitch controls a person. Like
Oh no!
that's the
Yeah, like
future.
they have like a 3D
Gamer.
rig. They have a 3D rig that they can like move the joints on, and I don't even know how that would.
It would go horribly wrong. Again, this is a hypothetical.
Break
there's
all of your bones.
I have a shock bracelet. What is it called? The Pavlok 2. So there's a Bluetooth library for it. Well, it's just BLE, so you can control it with that. So that's one of the other projects. Is type of like a command to shock whoever's playing. So if you're playing a game live on stream and get shocked constantly,
That's smart.
yeah, it's safe. It's a safe electroshock.
That's right. This is presented as personal opinion and is not meant to be medical advice or in any way is an endorsement of any of the treatments or items listed herein. There's no list. It's verbal.
Like, I hope no one thinks I give medical advice, because
Oh god.
I want to hear more about cheese advice. What's this brie system?
yeah.
What do you want to know?
Show us the cheese
What
fridge with
what
the
is
sensor.
what does brie like? What does brie require? What is it?
What is brie? So, no, I can. So yeah, if you want to make brie, which is a soft, like blue meringue cheese that originates in France, I'm just gonna give you like the quick 1 minute. How do you make brie? And you basically get some milk, you warm it up to a certain temperature. Let's call it 2 gallons. You add some cultures. So these are some bacteria and then some molds. And then you add rennet. And then you might also add calcium chloride or not, depending if you use raw milk or not. Then you let it just sit for a couple hours, like an hour or two, and then it basically solidifies, it curds. So it's now like a gelatin. Then you can cut it, and you get these little very jelly-like cubes of milk, and then the whey, which is this kind of liquid, starts kind of leaving the whey. Then you kind of stir it for a while. You put them in these molds that basically it's like a little cup with holes all over it. That you can put the cheese curds into it, and then the mold. The mold lets the whey out, so kind of a lot of the liquid leaves, and then you start getting these forms of this cheese, and then you can flip it like after a few hours when it's kind of gelatinous, and then after kind of a day you add some salt, and then you put it in your fridge, and now it's aging. And this process will take you like 1 or 2 weeks depending on temperature, and this is where the temperature and humidity is very important. And I actually have a cheese fridge over here that I don't know if the camera will reach, but so over here, this is my cheese fridge. And I have, that was close. I have some older, these ones I made like a month and a half ago, I guess.
Nice.
And then these ones are actually currently aging. And let me take them out and show you. You'll see. I'm trying to get the camera. So these cheeses here, you'll see how the mold is growing, right? And you see some are black
awesome.
and then some are white. So the black ones are actually covered with vegetable ash right after I made them. And then the white stuff is actually the mold that's growing around them. And when you eat brie, that rind itself, the white rind, it's actually mold that gets kind of flattened when you wrap it. So once, maybe in a few days, these ones will be ready where they're kind of fully covered in this white mold. And then you put like a cheese paper around it, which lets some moisture out, but keeps some of the moisture in. It's kind of magical. It has paraffin here for the cheese. Thanks, Chloe. Picking cheeks. And then you age it a bit more for maybe like another 3 to 8 weeks, depending on temperature. Again, the colder it is, the longer it's going to take. But yeah, so that's kind of what it takes to make brie. And then after a couple months, in this case, you can just cut it open, and then you can ask Nima. He's had some, or have you tried it yet?
Okay, so I was about to say, so we did like a food swap. So I drove from Sacramento up over to wherever, right? Somewhere in California, I shall not state. I just outed myself. Good luck finding me, guys. You can just find me on LinkedIn. I'm actually cooking. Oh, that's right. Yeah, everyone's like, let's go harass the guy that I don't know. I'll give him a haircut and shave their beard. I don't know, but
you'll end up like me.
That's so. I'm cooking with it tonight. Ooh. So I am making a garlic herb pizza. So I'm actually, after this, I'm going to take the dough out to rise for about 30 minutes.
Oh, nice.
And I'll make pizza with that with some caramelized onions. It looks great.
It's going to be strong, I'll tell you, because so the longer you age it, the stronger the flavor gets. At first, it's kind of a hard, and then it ages from the outside in. The actual roots of this mold is what ages the milk into to the cheese, basically. So it's the roots of these molds that are on the outside that's actually changing the cheese itself. So if you cut through it when it's young, the kind of outside is going to be gooey, but the inside is still going to be more solid. And then the longer you leave it, the more liquid it gets. And eventually it's probably just going to be just like...
So then out of curiosity, so cheese tips live, quite strong at its current age, just a little bit on the pizza then?
I mean, if you're using other cheese, you can augment it with the brie, right? So put some mozzarella or something like that, and then put slices of brie, and then you'll get a bite. It's like if you put blue cheese, right? You're not gonna just do blue cheese. You can put
augmented cheese. That's the next.
Yeah,
that's what I was about to say, man. It's a different form of augmentation. There you go.
So do you have like
augmenting cheese reality?
Do you have a cheese monitoring dashboard somewhere that you get like a text if cheese?
I do. I don't have the live alerts, but I've been playing with. Before I used to just use a Raspberry Pi, and these are Bluetooth. So surprisingly, they make the Bluetooth signal comes out of the fridge just fine somehow.
Oh wow.
And I've tested it in several fridges. Even the all metal ones, the gasket on the side, it's not metal, right? So there's still gaps around, and as long as the receiver is nearby. Wow. You can get it. And then right now I have a Raspberry Pi with InfluxDB instance that I'm playing with. I'm just learning about like all the cloud stuff. And if you were to do this in a more commercial environment, then yes, this would be a perfect system. Like have your Raspberry Pi or some other sensor connected via wireless via cell phone or Wi-Fi, and then actually get alerts. I'm going to put this cheese back in the fridge real quick.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not a huge deal. It's pretty forgiving, but I forget sometimes.
You'd be getting cheese text right now, though, if this was...
Oh, yeah. I'd be like, hey, so I have to flip it every day. So at least I would, know that's like, hey, yeah, I know I'm flipping it, dude. You don't have to tell me. But yeah, you can absolutely tell when you open the fridge or when you uncover it, the humidity shoots up, the temperature shoots up.
And how long do you age? How long do you like yours aged for?
So there was the one that was below that's already wrapped. That one I wrapped, I think, about a month and a bit ago. So probably in like 2-3 weeks, I'll crack them open. And that one's a triple cream, so I use more fat, more delicious. And then the ones on top, the ones I showed you, they're kind of currently aging. It's been a week and a half. And those I'm playing with raw milk, which is a whole other experiment. So those maybe in like late April, they'll start to be ready. And I'm going slow because this is colder. If you have like a wine fridge or something that's a little bit warmer, you can do it warmer. And I've tried that, but sometimes I try too warm and then they go bad. So I'm kind of erring on the side of I'll just do it slower, but it won't go bad.
Awesome.
Nima. So This actually reminds me. It was, I want to say, one of the Intel developer forums where it was when the Curie was the big
Oh, yeah.
Bluetooth device. So they had like these wine toppers or wine corks that had Bluetooth sensors in them, so that you could have each wine monitored and know like the safety of it. That's kind of an area where I want to see what happens with Edge AI, like Edge Impulse being used towards, say, food quality measurements, or like, is there qualities you can pick up regarding the cheese making process, right?
Yeah.
That you can then like optimize.
That's kind of what I'm doing. Well, that's what I'm trying to enable, right? Like originally, I had designed the system to be this whole smart fridge where I would control the humidity and the temperature and like do a closed loop system. Turns out you don't even need to do that. Like I don't even need the sensors. I can just look like, oh, there's condensation. Let me crack it open a little bit more or less. But what I would love to do is, yes, just take all the data. And then, of course, there needs to be feedback kind of from my end of like flavor.
Yeah, like flavor.
Exactly. You could do more. So the pros will measure pH, for example, at various stages, right? So especially during the first day when you're adding rennet and all the cultures and heating up the milk and stuff, the actual acidity matters a lot. So that's something you can definitely measure and add as a variable into your magical network thing, I guess. But yeah, basically I'm trying to measure more things. So if something does go wrong or goes really well, I can at least go back in history and be like, okay, what was the environment for this thing?
And so someone made
this conversation is gone.
I was just
We're
gonna say,
talking about Edge AI.
So someone made like a smart nose with Edge Impulse where it could smell different kinds of wines and different kinds of whiskey. So maybe you could, smell the different cheeses and see which ones are.
So actually, you joke, but I'm actually looking at some of these VOC sensors because the time that they go bad, I could definitely smell it. And in some cases, it's ammonia, and other cases, I don't know what else it might be. But it would be cool to, instead of me having to go sniff it, have the fridge itself just kind of circulate the air a little bit, and then have one of these VOC, or I don't know what the acronym is, but like it's one of these sensors that, yes, detects various chemicals. And they're not cheap, but like, $40 a sensor for one off is like acceptable, I think. But it'd be interesting to see kind of what is going on in this little closed little fridge system.
That's the future right there. Internet of cheese is the next big thing.
IO cheese, yes.
IO cheese.
I mean, it can and it will. I mean, it feeds us. I mean, that's like one of the most important things. I mean,
it's good for you. Good for the mental health too. Makes you happy.
Right on. All right. Hey guys, this has been like a really great conversation. I hate to like bring it to an end. So why don't we just do a quick wrap up if there's anything anybody wants to leave?
It's definitely
with? Like, where can we find you?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Elijah?
I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. It took a weird. It definitely took a weird, but I like the turn it took when we started talking about cheese. I didn't know there was that much of a process to making cheese. I didn't know how. Yeah, I didn't know how much like custom PCBs and computers could help in the process. I thought it was an art, but it is an art. Sorry, you know what I'm saying? Like I thought it was like it had to have a human intervention. I didn't know that it could be automated like this, which is really cool.
Oh.
I just wanted to. I've been meaning to say that, but I didn't.
Oh no, thank you. Yeah, no, this is absolutely mostly just for fun. Like people have been making cheese without electronics forever. This is just for me. It's an excuse to practice my electronics and firmware skills, like getting low power devices. So I was able to get that cheese board for like idles at like 2 microamps or between 1 and 2 microamps average, right? And it's transmitting once a minute. That's a project that I would love to work on, but I usually don't have the motivation. So the cheese aspect is kind of my motivation to learn something new, to learn how do I make a like yellow PCB in the shape of a cheese wedge. Never done that before. So most of these, same with the weather station, these are projects that are excuses for me to improve my skills. And that's why I've never done anything with cellular. So this is one thing that I'm excited about is, again, with this fancier weather station that uses more power, so I'm not concerned about microamps. I'm looking forward to trying out this new technology that I haven't used before. Because like I've used LoRa, LoRa, Bluetooth, Zigbee, and not for a particular technical reason every time, but just because like, oh, this seems like a neat technology. And then now when I do have a project, I have this kind of a set of skills that I've kind of acquired just by screwing around with different home projects. So this is the main reason I do all these things.
That's rad. Is it published anywhere?
Which part?
The circuit board or any of the processing?
Oh, all my stuff's on GitHub. It's not greatly documented, but it's all open source, open hardware. So it's all on my GitHub page. I've given a few talks at like Crowd Supply Teardown Conference, and those are also online about all the things I learned. So what all these things you should never do, like all the mistakes I made along the way. I feel like those are more useful than like, hey, look at what I made. It's more like, look at these things that I tried to make and it didn't work, and this is how I fixed it. And yes, I did get to this cool end result, but it's mostly the what not to do is what I like to share.
Is it called
I was just talking to someone
OSTUR?
I can post a link here. It's on my website.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. If you drop it in the private chat, I'll bring it up. That's really cool.
Is that the one on the right here?
Yeah, the private chat, yes. Awesome.
I think it'll be linked at the bottom there. Yeah, it was Learning Electronics and Software the Cheesy Way was the title of my. And then I did the follow-up talk was Learning Electronics and Software the Rainy Way, which is, I think. I'm not very creative.
No, it's perfect. I mean, you have to at that point, right? It's a moral imperative.
Yeah, got to make those puns.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I got.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome, man. Yeah. So with that, why doesn't everybody go around just if there's anything you want to close off with, like where people can find you, where people can find about your projects, and then we'll end the stream here.
I mean, you already posted my website, alvarop.com, and on Twitter, I'm at Alvaro Prieto, Prieto, which is my name.
Yeah, iShotJR, just search for iShotJR, and usually I'll come up first. Twitter is ishjr, ISHJR. I will plug again the Maker Show and Tell. It's next Thursday, the 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you find my Twitter or anything else of mine, yeah, you should be able to track that down too.
I'm Elijah. Wait, we're saying where to find each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Elijah Horland. You can find me on Twitter at notabombbunky. Oh, that is not entirely on. Hold on.
There we go.
It's hard to spell. That's why. Yeah, it's hard to spell.
There we
That's why I
go.
put it up. At notabombbunky. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have many other social media.
Fair enough. And Nima.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at +ultraxr. I nuked Twitter. I think I'm probably gonna have to reestablish that. And if you'd like to check out, what we're doing at XRSI, that's the letter X, the letter R, S, and then just the letter I, like Instagram, .org, and just the awesome work we're doing. I'm also going to be coming out with a video podcast vlog / thing called Sensorama that is currently being built. So just pay attention on Instagram. And yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, by the way, I want to plug Alvaro's bread that he makes. Internet of Bread. We heard about cheese, bread. I mean, amazing.
We're working up to pizza, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's coming.
IOP. That's
I mean, my boards are already slice shaped, right? Like I just need to
have that on Pie Day. Pizza Pie Day.
There you go.
Ooh. I'll get that next year.
All right, guys. Thank you again for joining, and I'm going to take you off the stream, and we're going to end this. But I appreciate it again. I'll see you at the next one.
This is fun.
Wait. Oh, bye.
Bye.
That was.
All right. So before I go, I just want to mention that we'll be doing videos and blogs just about every week. Recently, I published a couple of Hackster guides, so if you're interested in getting started with Soracom, which is where I work, soracom.io, we've got all those guides on hackster.io. So if you go check out the Soracom page, those are out there, and we've done a couple of other videos go back on our YouTube channel and check out the recording from our first Hackstorm that we did. Elijah, David, and Elijah and Alvaro were also guests on that, so we had a great time, and this was a fantastic conversation. I so appreciative that it just went all over the place. So expect more of that, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers and hack the planet.